Hey everyone, welcome in. Thank you for joining me. My name is Marlene and I'm with The Room to Bloom. I want to say thank you for joining me today. I do realize I'm getting some feedback here, so I'm just going to turn the volume down a bit. So hopefully you'll be able to hear me just fine. So yesterday I went to an Easter celebration earlier than Easter, and there were so many like wonderful salads and foods and everything homemade, and it was like a day of indulgence, right? And it was funny because when I woke up this morning, I mean, I could tell that I ate things that I definitely don't always eat. And it's interesting on our spiritual journey as we are elevating our vibration, getting more into our light body. There can be situations or occurrences that we experience while we're going through these shifts. So let's say that you have become sensitive to something when you didn't have those sensitivities before. That's kind of a sign that you're starting to enter more light into your body, and your body is adjusting. So what it does is it assimilates to what is in your environment. So what's coming to me is the idea of when astronauts train, they have to practice what it's like to be in that environment until their body can handle it and work with it, right? And they practice like velocity training and all different types of things. They're working with you know the idea of non-gravity, velocity, like the whole thing, right? And so it's kind of like that. We But when things were a certain way before, now all of a sudden you could have different sensitivities. It could be to a certain food type, to whatever, like when people develop gluten sensitivities, or they develop um, sensitivities to whatever, dairy sensitivities. So there's different things that our body starts shifting, and it's kind of saying no. Sometimes that no isn't forever. Sometimes that no is no, not right now, or had too much of that, and you notice it, right, in your body and or the way that you feel. Okay. Think about if somebody is drinking, right? What do? They feel it the next day if they've been drinking a lot, right? It's kind of like that. You can feel it the next day because now it's sat in your body. And so what do people do? You can detoxify your body by drinking a lot of water. You can put onions on your feet. There's all these different techniques to detoxify your body, at getting your greens in. In fact, I just put the set somewhere. It's a whole thing on detoxifying your body with different vegetables and fruits, and I had gotten this. It's kind of a trifold brochure somewhere some time ago, but then there's also a box that talks about detoxifying. So you can go through stages, and it doesn't have to be done all at once, because if you've ever heard of people, I can't say what the name of it is, but it's something that helps detoxify the liver, where somebody puts their feet in this kind of foot bath of sort, right? And if people do it fast and a lot of it, some people do it for health reasons. They kind of have to, but it can also make you feel very sick. Now the image is coming to me like when a diver, right? If they come up too fast, they have to put them in a hyperbaric oxygen tank, right? To I don't know if I'm recompressurize the body. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's that same kind of idea. So doing too much too fast, you're going to feel it, right? But if you start making gradual changes, um, you will notice it, but it won't be um, like really physically tough on you. Think about when you detox from coffee or caffeine. Yep, you feel it for a couple days, or sugar, right? You feel it for 2, 3 days, and like people say, you get through that push and then you're good to go. So this is kind of interesting because I woke up and I was like, oh, so I noticed that I ate something that didn't fully set with me, right? Not a big deal because I knew that that would go down. But I happened to open up this book by Dr. Wayne Dyer. It's called Being in Balance. It's 9 Principles for Creating Habits That Match Your Desires. And today I just realized that correlation here. I opened it up to a page, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically I'll just read the thing. He says as the main topic here, you're not what you eat, you're what you believe about what you eat. So balancing your desire to have your body feel great with what you feel it, with what you feed it and how you exercise it. So it's a combination of all of it. This goes right back to the thought, the action, and the result. So we can think, if I'm eating this food, it's not that I'm afraid of it, right? And I will never touch everything. Like as far as food, it's that I'm like, I become more cognizant of it. And so because I'm cognizant of it, I start to lean into even healthier choices. But it's not about, oh, if I have a bite of, pie or whatever, and then you make a big deal out of it, that's your thought creating your reality. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to have some pie and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it. Do I recognize I may feel that a little bit later? Yes, I do. But I don't have to overindulge, but I can have some, right? And so that is balance. But so he goes on here to say, do not neglect this body. This is the house of God. Take care of it. Only in this body can God be realized, right? So the spark of light within us, getting out of our, and he didn't say that, and I don't know that I'm going to say this gentleman's name right. Nisargadatta Maharaj, that's who said that quote. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted with that name. But again, it's like, it's about balance, and not, it's self-recognizing. Have we allowed something to get away from us? Have we made it bigger than it is? Have we given something too much energy? Or can we just have balance in our life, right? Understanding that it's like give and takes, positives and negatives, whatever that is, right? So I thought that was interesting that I experienced that yesterday, because I did indulge, right? and then that came up. So this is how it works on this journey. So kind of neat. So we're going to tap into a deck here by Tasha Silver called The Divine Beloved. I want to start with this today, and let's see what comes up. Kind of just open up this reading. What do you want to tell us about the energies here that would be helpful for the collective? Grace. That's just it. Having grace for yourself when you do. Right? Like, so if maybe that's not something you always do, but you do. And like, even this week, I had a way different week than I normally ever have, but it's because I had something else going in my life that threw me off a little bit. but it's not like I'm hard on myself about it. It's I recognize it, and it's like I trust the journey, right? So in harmony, so grace in harmony with flow. May I honor all the ways your grace flows so I move in harmony with you. Open me to trust and receive your abundant blessings in every way, right? Accepting the harmony in your life with grace. And everything just is what it is. I move with the flow. I don't have to fight it. I don't have to make it such a drama, right? Okay, what else do we have? The next one is honoring. I am kind and loving. Change me, divine beloved, into one who honors my emotions. Let me feel my feelings without judgment and then release them. Show me how to be kind and loving to the child inside of me who needs care. And I'm getting confirmation with that, right? And we all have that inner child. We all have experiences in our life that have affected us, right? That's what we're doing on our journey, where we go through stuff to grow through stuff, right? And so, and it says again, divine beloved, into one who honors my emotions. Emotions happen to be energy in motion. So when you are feeling deeply, what that is you are feeling energy, right? Coming up, rising up, and moving about, and you're feeling it. And if you can just remember that this too will pass. It's like a storm. And yes, sometimes storms are going to go around you. But if they always go around you, are we feeling our feelings? Or if we go to outrun the storm, right? If we're always running away from it. But what if we sit and we allow that storm to move through us, to feel the feelings, to process any pain, to recognize triggers, to know that there was something deep there that, just needed acknowledgement, right? And we move it through, and I don't have to judge myself because I felt my feelings, right? And also, if you have others, who judge you because you feel your feelings, just remember that that is a reflection of what they're going through. They wouldn't want someone to see them feel their feelings. This is just about allowing. It's not that you have to pack up all of your whatever's going on. I don't know why the word crazy is coming in. Pack up all your crazy emotions, put them in wherever, a bag, and take them with you everywhere you go, right? It's like, no, I think I'm going to do the work here. And you might feel your feelings. And if you've ever been through something really challenging, and say, you were moving through something for, let's just say a day, say it was multiple days then, or let's say, depending upon what the situation is. I mean, if you lost your job, you might feel something for, it depends how long you've been there, right? It depends what your relationships were like at that job. It depends what your attachment was or not. It might be like, yeah, you might feel your feelings, but what are you feeling? Are you feeling fear rise up because, oh, now you don't know what you're going to do? Are you feeling sadness because you're going to miss the people you work with? Are you feeling intrepidation because you don't know what's next, right? And so all these feelings are very different, but allowing yourself to feel what you can while you're alone or at home, right? But understanding, what do we still do? We get up, we put our feet back on the ground, and we continue to move forward. Sometimes that moving can feel like trudging forward, right? It's like a lot of people who are going through challenging times will end up getting a pet, right? Because if it's a dog, right, that pet requires them to get outside, to take the dog out. And so many times you hear people say that, they'll go adopt a dog, so they're saving a dog, right? But then how many times people say, who saved who, right? Because the dog saved them because they were struggling with depression or whatever in their life, and the dog was able to help heal them by getting them outside, by bringing some laughter and joy into their life, right? So a variety of different things. And just being kind and loving to yourself wherever you're at on your journey. Allow your feelings to move through you, and be kind and loving to the child inside who needs care. Okay, the next one we have is freedom. I love myself. So here's someone who's kind of got their arms around it. I'm not quite sure what it is. Sort of looks like a mirror, because it might indicate water, but it looks like a moon in a different phase. It says, change me, divine beloved, into one who can love myself in every condition. Free me from self-torture. Fill me with self-acceptance and worthiness. May I allow and honor all of my feelings, however they arise, right? So I actually just listened to a video yesterday. I'm trying to think, was it a video? No, yeah, it was a television show, I'm sorry. But somebody was speaking about someone who they were walking across the street and the other person was hit, and they didn't make it, right? And so this thing about, like, she was kind of torturing herself, like, emotionally, because, one, it was so traumatic for her, of course. Two, she just, it's what is that? Survivor's guilt, right? Survivor's guilt. And so that's kind of, those are the words that are coming to me. Fill me with self-acceptance and worthiness. So that's self-love. Again, nurturing that child, that inner child. Again, may I allow and honor all of my feelings, however they arrive. So again, that's going to be that storm. You can constantly try to outrun your feelings, but you end up getting exhausted, right? And so it's like, you get tired of running all the time. So sometimes when you're sitting still and you're in a peaceful situation, all of a sudden something, whether it's television, whether it's a book you're reading, whether somebody plays a song on the radio, you hear a neighbor talking about something, it's like this little trigger that says, hey, all of a sudden maybe you start feeling tears come up. All of a sudden you start thinking about someone or something or some place or some experience, and you start feeling deeply, because now you're not running, you're in just more of a peaceful place. And it's like no one's there to say, what are you crying about? Or even if someone is, and then you feel blocked off, right? It's like just saying, you know what, I'm just moving through something. Just had something remind me of something, and just need some time right now, right? To feel that. You might journal about it. You might just start coloring and still let those feelings flow so that they don't get blocked and block your progress, block your journey. Okay, what else do we have here? We have relax. I receive all blessings. Here we have someone who's taking a bath. Oh, beloved, change me into the one who knows how to relax completely. Sleep deeply and receive all the blessings of every moment exactly as it presents itself with ease and gratitude. You know, it's really interesting. I have two signs in my place that say relax on them, and today they both just kind of stuck out to me, right? Relax. That gets right back to that. Anytime you're feeling the need to run, but you don't really have to do something. You're making it up to not sit with yourself, right? Um, it's saying just relax, allow, flow. Water can be extremely healing. So the baths and like salt baths, clearing your energy. Water in the tarot deck represents emotions and such. So feeling the feelings. Okay, what else do we have here? Spirit, I am filled with light. Change me, divine beloved, into one who knows that my spirit is eternal and ageless. Let me release any old ideas of constriction or limitation. My whole being is filled with joy, energy, and beauty, a vessel for the divine Shakti. And so here, this gal is doing yoga. She's turned to the side. These are the representations of the chakras. But what's interesting is they're all golden, right? And they're in alignment. These are generally represented by one, or each color represents a different one. But if you have unbalanced chakras, this could be over here, the next one could be over here, this could be over here, right? And so this is the visual representation. Say, I am grounded, I am balanced, I am at peace, I am stable, I feel safe, right? Each of these have like a quote to go with them, to feel like I am safe, I feel joyful. So different things like that. But this is like saying, I'm in balance and the light moves through me. I am filled with light. Okay. So I'm going to set these aside for right now. I have a number of things on my desk here. All right, what else do we have that you would like to bring forth? Okay, this is the Soul's Journey deck. Let's see what comes up. What would you like to tell us here? Growth. So this falls under the grace in harmony with the flow. Growth. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. Again, it says on this other card, open me to trust and receive your abundant blessings in every way. Every way. This isn't just financial blessings. This is blessings in health, blessings in friendship, in family, in work, or whatever that you enjoy doing, right? Blessings in all ways. Again, growth, this is admitting or saying out loud to the universe, I want to expand my consciousness and awareness. Now this word want, okay? So you got to be careful that you don't live in that want energy forever, right? It's like, I am growing. I am expanding my consciousness. Why? First, I thought that I want to, but then I took an action step and I started to watch videos, something like this, right? Someone who's here to expand your mind. That's what we do on A Room to Bloom. We're here to help expand your mind, nurture your heart, right? And so a number of different things, but again, we recognize it once, and then we start taking action, and we start having a result. And what is that result? We start having expansion. We start to become more aware of our thoughts, our actions, our words. What is our place in the universe? We become more aware of ourself, how we interact with others, right? Okay. All right, what else do we have? Again, I said that. I think it was on that. We go through it to grow through it. Okay, what do we have under honoring? I am kind and loving. Okay, so we have envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. Okay. So you might be experiencing some envy from others because you are kind and loving. Because you're allowing yourself to feel the feelings. You're allowing yourself to heal your inner child without judgment. right? And because you're healing, what's happening? You're getting more and more filled with light, right? You don't have as much of that darkness or heaviness or weighty feelings, if you will, right? So when envy is present, this is a call for people to, for those that are feeling envious, to just make it important uh, to find time to do your own inner healing, to heal the inner child, to do the shadow work. And if you feel pulled at so many directions, that is the fragmented self. And it's about taking control of a situation and saying, this is what I'm doing. I'm making space for myself. And letting people know. You don't have to like announce it, but it's like I'm claiming for myself, whether it's a half hour every day or twice a day or an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening, to regain the best self of me. To, because when I am my best self, that is what I put out into the universe, right? So it's about recharging our cup. And it's also recognizing who else in our life have we been drawing or pulling from them too much that they need their cup filled. So can we back away and hold space for them to recharge their cup, to get out in nature, to feel their feelings without judgment, without saying, hey, what are you doing? So just kind of putting that out there. What's the next one under freedom? It says, I love myself. Denial. Okay. So free me from self-torture. So has there been something that you've been denying? It said, I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness, right? Just the same thing. Okay. If you've been feeling fear, it's like, I'm going to start looking into why. Where is it coming from? And here's the thing, the word ear is in the word fear. So what that means is sometimes we have to get quiet and listen to the information that's coming in and see if it resonates with our soul very deeply. I start to become more aware of my fears. I become aware of them, but I don't make them bigger. I don't carry them around everywhere with me. It's like, okay, I recognize I have this, but I'm facing my fear. I'm having the courage to sit with what's uncomfortable, with the things I really have been trying to avoid that I didn't want to feel, right? But this is saying, it's okay. I'm stepping more into awareness and healing. Under relax, we have the word guilt, which would fall under the envy, the denial, and the guilt would be next. It says, I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth, right? And so it's interesting. This spiral here makes me have that feeling of, spinning, right? Where it's like, it's kind of like worry in a rocking chair. You're doing something, but you're not getting anywhere. And that's what guilt can be like. So you have a hard time focusing. You have a hard time concentrating on anything because this is like this big thing that you've been carrying around, right? And it's like, what if I just set that guilt down at the door because it is no longer assisting me in my soul's growth? I'm going to start leaning into freedom of myself, and I'm going to stop torturing myself, right? I'm going to learn how to relax, and I'm going to let more light into my life. Does that mean you pull up through a drive-through and they go, hey, here's some light, right? You might get a little bit, but it takes work. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes self-love. And it's a journey. It is not a something done in one second. It takes time to release that stuff. Took a while maybe to build it up potentially, right? So it takes a while to come off to. It just depends, right? Okay, under the Spirit, this is so interesting. I am filled with light. The card is love. Okay. It says, I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. And that is such a practice, right? Really sitting with yourself each evening. You can actually do this like a few times a day. Kind of setting an alarm and saying, where have my thoughts been? So you could do one, say at the lunch hour, right? Have I been seeing the good in all things all morning, right? And then it might take you back to, ooh, this situation come up. I didn't really, right, see that. So it gives you a moment to say, what was the silver lining in that experience? Is there a way that I could maybe handle the situation a little bit better or different? Can I go back? I mean, what we've put out in the universe, we've put out. But we can also work on self-correcting, right? And say, or putting ourselves in another's shoes, this type of thing. And so we start to, it's a practice, right? And then we can do that same thing like at dinner time. And then we can do it again at night before we go to bed. Because we have different people in our life many times at different times of those days. And so how did I do? Have I been getting better? It takes it especially like if you've been overwhelmed and busy and short fused and angry and frustrated and all these different things. It takes practice to not react, but to learn how to respond. Right? To learn how to respond. And when we're having reactions, when we're reacting, then we know that we've got some work to do there, that there's a trigger somewhere. And that's where we do like shadow work, and we're like, why did I react so strongly to this? What is my fear? Why is that making me feel some sort of way, right? Okay. Okay, this is interesting. I pulled this deck out again. I've used it a couple times. It talks about community helpers. I'm just feeling like this deck is being called to be used right now. Interesting. Okay, I'm just going to shuffle. Let's see what comes up. What would you like to show us about community helpers here? This is like the question card. Okay. We have the Postal Service. Okay. So growth is here. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. What might this look like that comes through the Postal Service? One, it's represented by an eagle. So that gets a higher perspective, right? When the mailbox is open, that means we're being a receiver. When it's closed, it's like, is that a representation of our self being closed off? If the flag is up, does the flag say, hey, I have a message to share? And we go through these same situations, right? In our experience. For self-growth, maybe there's something that you want to order and have delivered. Maybe it's a book, right? Just keeping that in mind. Okay, under community helpers. We also have 6 stamps with George Washington. And I think of Washington because, his story is about the apple, right? And there's a lot in the spiritual experience about like the apple. But it's like, just take his name, washing. It's like you are being washed clean, right? You're being cleansed. Open me to trust and receive your abundant blessings in all ways. That could mean watch for what's coming in the mail, right? You could have abundant blessings coming to you in the mail. Okay, we have a chef. This I am kind and loving, honoring your inner child. Um, two things. Two things that I'm getting. Okay, so maybe as a child, you liked to cook, right? Or to do some cooking. You could have had a parent that was a chef. Um, but you could have a great skill here, and there is envy. Again, so just taking care of yourself, but this could be a way to honor your inner child, right? And even though it says chef here, you could also be a baker, right? You could, that would be something you might do, bake cookies that, that would honor your inner child. Make things that are joyful, right? Okay, what else do we have? Getting out, like if you're picking out fresh vegetables and fruits, getting out in a garden, things like that. Okay, what else do we have under freedom and denial? Okay, interesting. So freedom, so this would be the police. So if somebody was feeling really bad about a situation that had to do with this, this is saying, you know what? I allow and honor all of my feelings whenever they arise. Whatever happened here, I acknowledge that I had fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness, right? Does this mean that someone is a terrible person because they had it and experienced, right? No, we're here having soul lessons on our journey. We're having soul lessons. But you know what's so interesting? I just realized that. So somebody might be getting out of a situation. Freedom, right? So that's wonderful, right? That's really good news. And it is in that, like when people go through things like that, and they have been slowed down in their life, if not by their choice, that there's healing that can take place in that. Okay, tell us more about this relax and the guilt here. Okay, this is a veterinarian card. I was like, what? Okay, so you know how I was speaking about the pets? This is interesting. So we have, this is a card for veterinarian. So a leash, bones here, guilt. This could be a way to help calm someone's nervous system, to take their mind off of what they believe is their own stuff, to care for someone else, which is like reciprocal healing, right? Someone or something else. That can look like starting with a plant before a pet. Can you manage the plant? Can you take care of it? Can you, be aware of it? It steps out of just taking care of oneself, which it's important to do. But it's like, okay, if I am grounded and rooted in myself and I can manage myself, what's the next step? Can I extend that out to a plant? And then if I can do that, can I extend that out to a pet? And I can do that, I can extend that out to more people, right? One more person, right? So you're just one step at a time, learning to relax. Okay, the next one we have under I am filled with light and love, we have a school bus driver. Okay, we have a school bus driver. Because it's stop here, the words that are coming to me is somebody might be putting the brakes on a situation when it comes to love. But you know what else I see when I look at this? Okay, there are 8 sides to this sign. 8 is representative of abundance, and turned on its side, it's the infinity symbol. And I see the word see the top in the word stop, which means take some time, stop, slow down, right? slow down. And when we slow down, this is also all red here, right? Red and white. When we slow down, we can fill with ourselves with more light. First, I think it says first student on the bus, right? So we become a student of this journey, right? We become a student of the divine. We start to study, we reach out, we become a seeker, right? We have this card about growth. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. So in order to do that, we have to stop running all the time and slow down and tap into how we're feeling. This is regularly. This isn't just like, how am I feeling in the morning? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna like, it's I don't know. We're always where we're supposed to be, but the words that are coming to me is like self-correct, if you will. When we feel a little bit off, do we recognize that we could shift our vibration in some form or manner? Where have our thoughts been? Have they been a little far left? Can we shift them to something that lightens up our vibration, right? So when I say self-correct, it's more like a self-balancing, if you will, right? Okay. Okay, let's see what else is coming up here. These are archetype cards. Let's see what comes up here. Tell us more about this grace, growth, and the mail carrier. Okay, oh yeah. The mail carrier, that's funny because I always see the mail carrier as a medium. Okay, and so like with me being a medium, the mail carrier is a medium too, because they are a middle person, or however you want to say it, entity that delivers messages from one place to another. They are a medium in which messages get through. So again, could be growing you're expanding your consciousness and awareness in the area of mediumship. Okay. This might, when you look at that mailbox, you don't know if that mailbox is empty or if it's full, right? That mailbox could be absolutely full of messages, but it might not have a message. But generally, if there's a message to go back to the post office, right? That can be like, like in a prayer when you're talking with God, right? You're talking with God. Meditation is so you might be asking something, but meditation is where you're receiving the answer. So like the red flag goes up and says, it's kind of like, hey God, there's something I'd like to talk about, right? So being that medium, that's what's just kind of coming through to me here. What else do we have here? Okay, so I don't know if I have these. Okay. Under I am kind and loving and envy, we have the healer. The light attribute of the healer is passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit. The ability to help transform pain into healing. Okay, so here this this gentleman is kind of doing Reiki or hands, healing hands is what this image is, right? The shadow attribute of that, which is interesting, is taking advantage of those who need help, failing to care for oneself, right? So just got to be loving and kind to yourself. Take care of your inner child. There could be others that are envious because you are a healer too, with this chef thing coming up. Interesting. You know what? You could have the ability to heal people with the food that you make, create, and bring out to others. But it is also, it's like multi-purpose healing, because it's healing for someone to be preparing and making meals, because it can be a very cathartic situation where you're very much in your thoughts. You're thinking about the spices being used, the process, the timing, right? Um, so you could very much be doing a lot of healing as you're doing that. But then what you make, when you cook and you make and you whatever you're doing with love, when you infuse love into it, when you love what you're doing, that love goes into the food and then it goes out, right, to others. So you could be healing others through what you make. Okay, tell us more about this freedom, denial, and the police officer card. We have networker. The networker, how interesting, they have a bunch of letters. The light attributes of the networker is enhances unity through sharing of information, engenders social awareness and empathy, right? So it's about how could we help someone? Hey, this situation is going on. Can we, what can we do to bring awareness or help to this, right? The shadow attribute of the networker is they convey information only for personal gain and spreads fear and falsehood, right? So under that freedom, someone's gonna stop torturing themselves. They may have had a situation with the police. They could be a police officer who's been really hard on themselves, denying their fear, but trying to replace it with the insight of awareness. Looking at how have they been networking. Okay, what else do we have here? Under relax, guilt, and the veterinarian. We have God. The light attribute is benevolence and compassion, recognizing the internal force within yourself and others. The shadow attribute is despotism and cruelty, using power to control people. Okay? And interesting, because of this word guilt is here. So, if someone's been trying to control people, they've been maybe carrying a lot of guilt. They're being encouraged to relax and receive the blessings. And it's like, give it to God, right? Because, you know, God, if things feel good, right? They feel in resonance, in soul alignment. That is of God. Things that are not in soul alignment are in resonance, right? That's like your lower chakras. Those are things that you're struggling with, triggers. And so that's what you're calling to look at. How can I bring more light into my life? I love that the next card that we're going to pull happens to fall under the I am filled with light, right? Okay, tell us more about this with that one, love and the bus here. Interesting. We have the beggar. Confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. The shadow attribute of the beggar is dependence on others to the exclusion of effort, right? It's interesting because they're wearing red, which is representative of the root chakra, like your basic needs. Again, the light attribute is they confront the empowerment at the level of physical survival. So being aware of when people need help, right? Awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. Seeing another in their challenging times and what can we do to help. That is one that is the embodiment of being the light, right? When someone who is filled with light sees that, they want to reach out because why? They are full of love and have compassion and such. But it is awareness of if someone is in their shadow attribute, that they're becoming fully dependent on others to the exclusion of effort. So again, we're thought, action, and results. So it's called inspired action steps. All right. Let's see where we're at here for time. Okay, we're almost at an hour. Where does the time go? All right, we're going to take a message here from this calendar. Let's see what comes up here for you. You are so worth it. April 2nd. Okay, you are so worth it. Pink is representative of healing. Yellow is about standing in your power without taking the power away of another. This is like a beggar's situation. If somebody were in their shadow attribute, it's like saying, I can start taking action myself. In what ways, right? Asking your spirit team to work with you and help you and guide you, right? And the green is representative of the heart chakra. So that is the message for today. I want to say thank you for joining me. I hope this was helpful, hopeful, and healing for you today. Take care.